All right, I think we are live. Let me just double check my audio. Okay, so today we have a property in Overland Park in Kansas. And I picked this area because we had a contractor on our podcast, on the Affordable Housing Real Estate Investing podcast. I'll show you guys real quick. And he specialized in the Kansas City market. It's this podcast right here. He's done over 400 rehabs in Kansas City, used to be a Section 8 investor. So if you guys ever need a contractor out in Kansas City, feel free to reach out to Tyler and get a quote. So at least, again, I've never used him, but at the very minimum, it gives you a head start. And I remember when I first joined and started in real estate, I was thinking, what if someone's going to rip me off? What if this contractor doesn't know what they're doing? Well, this person used to be a Section 8 inspector, and he's also done 400 rehabs for investors. So at the minimum, you can get a bid, and you can decide what you want to do after that. But my goal with that was just bring on resources so that you guys can have a head start so that you at least know where you might want to invest, okay? Now, in Johnson County, I think Overland Park was ranked like number 2 of like best places to live. So take a look at it and see whether this is a market that you would be interested in. Okay. All right. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to get a understanding of this property at 9624 Hadley Drive, Overland Park, Kansas. You guys want to see the full screen version, just make sure to over to youtube.com/@Kent_HE. This property looks okay. I think you can probably get away with the flooring as is, to be honest with you. I might leave aside just a little bit of money to paint the place, but that's pretty much it. The basement doesn't look that bad. I wish there was a way to get another room in the basement, but I think this is a true basement where there is no exit. So I don't think you can add another bedroom down there, unfortunately. So that's okay. All right, so from this point going forward, we are going to go and get the payment standards. Now, usually we go to HUD FMR and we're able to find exactly what the FMR by zip code is. But in Johnson County, which is where Overland Park is, Johnson County Housing Authority lists out their payment standards by bedroom count and applies to all of these localities. And you can see right here that Overland Park, right? Overland Park, Prairie Village, some of your more affluent neighborhoods, higher median income. I think their median income was almost $85,000 or $90,000. So it's a full employment type of market. So something for you to keep in mind. Okay. Now, the part you need to pay attention to is that the amount includes rent plus utility allowance. Okay. So this 1974 number is your maximum rent if you cover all the utilities for the tenant. That's how much the city will pay. So that's what you want to be aware of. So let's go ahead and we'll plug these numbers in. So 1974 and then 2317 is your Johnson County. Johnson County. And this is the 3-bed. And these are your payment standards. I just got the 4-bedroom room just to see if I can see anything. And then the next thing we want to do is we want to get the market rent. Now, by getting the market rent, you go to affordablehousing.com, go to the owner section. It's market rent estimator, plug in the address, plug in the bedroom count. Once you click on get estimate, it's going to pop up a few numbers. The number you care most about here is the number on the far right, which says for 25 units within a 0.68 mile radius, the average rent for these 25 units is $1,891, right? This is just an affordablehousing.com market rent estimator. And in general, that's usually going to be your rent ceiling or the market rent, and you're going to take the lower of the two number, right? So if you see that your market rent is $1,891 and the rent ceiling is $1,974, chances are you're not going to get a rent higher than $1,891. Might round up a little bit. But this is because of the rent reasonableness test. The rent reasonableness test states that you cannot charge more rent to a housing choice voucher holder simply because they are a housing choice voucher holder for obvious reasons, right? Now, just for giggles, let's click on the 4-bedroom single owner. So there is a big jump, right? 2481, 2481. This is a good number for me to keep in mind because my rent essentially goes up by $500 if I just add an extra bedroom in Johnson County. Even though my ceiling here is 2317, if I ever see an easy opportunity to convert a 3-bedroom into a 4-bedroom, now I know what the delta is or that increased amount in rent looks like if I were to pursue that. So something for us to keep in mind, but in this scenario, I don't really think we have space to do that. So we're going to leave that. We're going to leave that as is. Okay. So let's get some numbers here. Our asking price for this property is $269,000, $269,000. Okay. My rehab, again, I don't think there's that much rehab here. I might put in a little bit of money for pest control, $1,000 down. I'm replacing 2 toilets for high pressure flush toilets, not renovating the bathroom, not doing any flooring work. I'm gonna set aside money to paint the place at $1,483 at $3 a square foot. That makes me roughly around $4,500. That's just in case, right? Just in case something happens. And since this is a townhome, I'm assuming the roof is going to be covered by the HOA. The problem is I don't see the HOA being listed here, so we're gonna have to get the number or try to figure out what that might look like. But I got an $8,000 rehab on this property. That's all I'm putting aside for this deal. It's pretty much relatively turnkey. Okay, so we have that. And now I got my rents at $1,891. Is what I'll use for now. And I am going to have a 25% down payment. So I think I've seen DSCR rates recently go for roughly around 8%. So I'm going to do asking price times 25%. And then I'm going to have the balance that I'm financing at equals to the asking price. Subtract the down payment, and that's how much I'm financing for this property at 8% interest, assuming it's a 30-year amortization loan. And this is going to start in 2024. Let's just do 3-1. Okay. All right. So assuming that's the case, let me also get a few other numbers. Walking down here on the left, I got my rents. I got my PI that I just calculated. I'm getting my property taxes number right from Redfin, which is $231 a month. $231. And my insurance is going to be $175. $175. And I'm going to assume I'm going to multiply this by 1.2. Simply because usually the insurance policy for a investment property is typically more expensive than an insurance policy for a primary residence home. Okay. I don't know what the HOA is, so I'm only $50 for the HOA. I got 10% for my maintenance, so that's $189 a month. I got 8% for my property management, and then I got 3% from a vacancy, simply because I'm assuming that this is one of the best places to live, so people don't really want to move out. And I think this place is pretty walkable too, so that's another plus. It's near downtown Overland Park, supposedly. Let's see if I can see. Where are we? Church. Yeah, a bunch of stuff. I'm not really. There's a mall over here. Interesting. Okay. All right. So let's see what our numbers look like now. So we've got these ones. We do not have any more assignments. We have 2.5% for closing costs, $8,000 for reserve. Cool. So right now, as is, if I assume that I have a 3-bedroom home and I can get $1,891 because that's the lower of the 2 rents, my cash flow per month right now on this deal is negative $477. To me, that is definitely not a deal because that's a negative 7% cash and cash return. Unless you said, hey, this is a really bumping area, the appreciation is going to go crazy because people just keep hearing press about how amazing Overland Park is to live. So that's why I believe that this is worth a while. But you'd be losing $500 a month. And I'm not really sure that you really want to do that unless you have really, really deep pockets, right? Now, let's say you were able to turn this into a 4-bedroom, and now you're able to get 2317. And let's say somehow you added a bedroom for $15,000. And now, don't forget, you got to add utilities on this. Plus utilities. Let's just call that another $250. You cover all utilities. Well, actually, it's a townhome. Shouldn't be that much. Townhomes, sometimes usually they cover kind of trash or water utilities. They cover you or something. So I'll put $250. So you will lose less money. You turn this into a 4-bedroom because of the higher rent, but you're still losing money. So this is not a cash flowing market for a single family home that's a 3-bedroom, or at least it does not work at its current price. So let's just back up a little bit. I want to mess with some scenarios. So let me take out that one. Let me go back to my original 1974 for rents. If this was truly the case and I had to pay utilities as well, how much would I be willing to pay for a property to cash flow at least 10%? So let's just mess with that purchase price. 100. Yeah, so I would pay 110, 105. Yeah, I'd be willing to pay 102. There you go. I'd be willing to pay 102 for a 3-bedroom property, assuming this is my rent, and so I can cash flow. The reason why it needs to be so low is because it's so expensive for your cost of capital. That's a real problem. That's where the issue is coming from. 10.2% cash and cash return. Everything else is still the same at 8,200. Okay. Now, the other situation is you might be looking at, yeah, but they said it was a townhome. That's a good question, Karina. It says it's in a townhome. I'm assuming there's some sort of HOA, but they didn't list anything, right? That's the interesting part. Maybe it's a decommissioned HOA or a non-active HOA, or maybe they just forgot to list it. So I just put that in there just because, one, it says it's an HOA, so I'm assuming there's something there. But that $50 is not really going to drive whether this is a deal or not. Good question. All right. So next thing I want to do is I want to see if there's an underlying loan that I can take over subject to. If you go to PropStream and you look up the address and you click on this section called Mortgage and Transaction History, now you can see how much is the underlying loan for. And you see that there's a loan here, 627.22, 627.22. And I'm going to add the underlying loan, which is 5.3%. We'll just do 5.375. Usually that's how it goes. And then this is a 30-year loan, 11/10/39. Okay. And the original balance was 199,960. 199,960. And now I had to bump my purchase price back up to what I originally had. So I'm going to do equals this plus the underlying loan. Oh, whoops. Let's do 200. Let's do 25% of this purchase price. 269,900. 269,900. Does that equal 267,435? If I had to, that's probably close enough. 269,900. Yeah. So that equals to 269,900. Yeah, pretty close. I'm assuming there's some principal pay down in there. So $500 less. All right. So now that I got my entire down payment, what if I'm able to take over this deal subject to the existing financing, which means that I'm taking over a loan at 5.375% and I pay the rest off, assuming that is what it is. Well, my property tax number is still the same. My PITI got lowered. My insurance is still the same. My HOA utilities are still the same. My maintenance and stuff like that. So even if I take this deal over subject to, and there is no seller finance fee, which means I'm giving all of the equity portion to the seller, well, I'd be paying a $69,000 down payment for this home. I take over the loan sub 2, but I will still be losing $251. So in this scenario, it is not a deal, even if this is a sub 2 deal. $69,475. 8,200. And that's because I'm assuming my purchase price is still the same. And this is a negative 3.6% cash and cash return. And this is a negative 251 cash flow a month. And I was assuming it's a 3-bedroom, but then I'm including all utilities in 1974. That doesn't work. So this is why this is personally not a deal to me, but does not necessarily mean that it's not a deal for somebody else, especially if they're just living there and maybe they just want a home with a lower interest rate for their primary residence. Cool. All right. So that's it. That's just staying consistent. That's just analyzing deals on a Sunday morning. Thank you so much for tuning in to this live today. Again, all we're doing is we're staying consistent. We're analyzing deals every day. This is day 162 of us going live. And this is how we built up a habit. Originally, I had a goal to go live 100 days in a row. And after that, it just felt weird to not analyze deals. And I'll be honest, I deleted Instagram during COVID because there was so much negativity. But I knew that if I was trying to get back into space and create true habits that will make a profound difference on my investing career, I knew that I'd come back on and create content. And I knew that for some folks, you might feel a little lost. You don't know where to start. Well, today, we just picked out a property. And you can analyze the same property tomorrow, put it on your own YouTube channel using the same spreadsheet. Just DM me on Instagram at investwithkenthe. If you want to copy out a spreadsheet, I've been given a spreadsheet by other folks, and I just modified it to meet how I underwrite deals with the rehab calculator and all these different scenarios that I come up with. But all you have to do is just copy what I did today and put it on your own YouTube channel. When you do that, you're going to start creating an undeniable track record of being consistent and showing yourself that you know how to analyze deals and spot a deal. Because if a partner ever comes to you and asks you, why do you think this is a deal? You can point them to your own YouTube channel at that point in time. And if you're really shy, you can even keep them as unlisted videos so that people can't search for it, except for the people you want to see them. And that's going to give yourself the confidence that you know what you do when a deal comes across your table and slaps you across the face. That's it. So this is not investment advice, not soliciting any investments. I'm simply doing the work every single day, and I hope you would do it with me because this is how we stay consistent together. Yes, the Excel template is available. Just DM me your email, and I will send it to you. My team will send it to you in a few hours once my team signs on. All right. Have an amazing Sunday, everybody. I hope you guys all spent some quality time with your family and friends today. And thank you so much for caring about affordable housing. Without people like all of you, I would have never had the home I grew up in. So thank you so much. Have an amazing day, everybody. And I'll be back here again tomorrow. You are so welcome, Karina. So good talking to you. Have a good one. I'll talk to you tomorrow.